Okay, in this video we'll talk a little bit more about kind of our more closed position or just simple voicings for these harmonies, and we'll start out with just a triad. Instead of having we'll do the dominant sevenths again, but instead of going root, third, fifth, minor seventh, we're gonna go root, major, third, and just seventh. So we'll omit the fifth in these. So I'd have my, again, on A, and then these, excuse me, my A, and then we won't have bars on these. This is one of the reasons why this is easier. So I'll play that with the second finger, and then the major third, fourth fret of the fifth string, and then the ring finger will also go on the fifth string of fifth fret of the fourth string. So I have sixth string, fifth fret, fifth string, fourth fret, fourth string, fifth fret. So root, major third, seventh. And that's just a shape for both major on the sixth string, and then for major on the fourth string as well. So I have my one chord, I shift everything over one set of strings, four chord, I slide everything up two frets, five chord, one. Now these are generally used in a more kind of like combo setting or kind of a jazz setting, so we're going to do a little different strumming pattern here. What we're going to do with the right hand is just go like this, down, 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 down. Just play simple quarter notes, but we'll kind of still do the comping thing where I'm going to play kind of staccato. So I'm going to play down and then immediately lift these fingers off. So if you watch my left hand here, so I'm not going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're going to add one little kind of rhythmic fill to that in a second, but let's just play it straight first. So since these are pretty easy, I won't do the easier 12-bar version. I'll do the substitution version. So we're going to go 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5. Without the fill first. So we're going to like this. 4 chord, 1 chord. 2 measures. Then back to the 4 chord. We're on the second A phrase here. Then back to the tonic. Now we're getting ready to go to the B phrase, and then 4, 1. Now back to the dominant, and then we start over. Pretty straightforward. This one should come pretty quickly. I recommend if you're having problems with the other bars or just with the pattern itself, maybe even start with this progression. This will give you a really clear idea of the pattern of 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5 of that bass motion, and it's a lot easier to follow it because I'm just using the same shape the whole time. So the little rhythmic fill we're going to add to this will go like this. So on the fourth beat before we change harmonies, we're going to do a little up stroke. That's a shuffled triplet, meaning so if I had 1, 2, 3, I would just tie 1 and 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that shuffle rhythm we'll talk about more in the next video when we get into the scales. It's really important that we're able to oscillate between these 3 rhythms when we're playing blues: eighth notes, straight eighth notes, shuffled eighth notes, and then the triplet. And if we can kind of oscillate between those 3 rhythms melodically and rhythmically for the chords, then we can add a lot more kind of authentic sound to our blues progressions and scales, improvisation. So what we're going to do is this: still the staccato, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that on the 4. And just like we were sloughing before in our chords, on that last, whatever the last subdivision of the beat before we change harmonies, that can actually be open if we want it. So it can be open, or it can kind of just slough it, and in the comping thing, just hit the strings and they're slack. So I'll do this really slow. Here's open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you can hear the open strings. I'll be quiet. Now I'm kind of dragging and going a little slow and accenting them. So if I don't want to bring that much attention to them, so I would go like this. something like that. Or what I can do is, instead of lifting the fingers all the way off and getting to the open strings, I can just release the pressure and just have the slack string. So that would sound like this. And I'll do it slow and accent it, and then I'll play it normal. So hear how it's just the slough strings as opposed to the open strings. So, and again, playing it kind of more naturally, how I would actually do it without the accent is. And if you notice, I'm doing a quick up. So down, 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 up, down with the thumb. So when I use that, it just makes my progression sound a little more rhythmically interesting. So I'll do it now with the progression. It would go like this. 1. Up to the 5 chord. And that's kind of more, again, like a kind of like a jazz, that's more jazz than blues, kind of more like a combo rhythmic section guitar part.